Hey y'all, welcome back to Leslie's Mature Makeup and Beauty. Today I thought we would try some things from Ccolor Cosmetics. I've never tried anything from this brand before, and I first heard about it from Jen Phelps here on YouTube, so I'll definitely link her channel in the description box. I really enjoy her content, but they do a lot of dupe products, so I grabbed this eyeshadow palette, which is the Milky Way palette. This is supposed to be a dupe for the Huda Beauty Naughty Nudes. And now, this shade here was one of those jelly type shades, but unlike the Huda, when I touched this one, it really kind of mushed together, and that's what it looks like. But I'm going to see if this dries down, because like I don't have the Naughty Nudes, but I have Rose Quartz, which I love from Huda. You know, you can see I've swirled this or swatched it several times, and you can still see like the little beads in there. You know, they didn't all mush up like this one, but... So, that's, you know, definitely a difference. But it's got some swirly shades in here and that kind of stuff. But I thought when I was just looking at it that these shades here were very similar, you know, these browns. But when I swatched them out, they definitely have a different tone and undertone. So, we'll just get started. And I think for my crease, I'm going to go into the shade up here called Scorpio. Now, like I said, I don't have Naughty Nudes, but, you know I enjoy the formula from Huda. It's a really nice one, so we'll see how this... Nice pigmentation so far, because I just barely tapped in, and as always, y'all know I tap my brush off on my arm, so you won't hear a lot of clanking, but I do make sure to tap my brushes off. A little bit of powder kick up in the pan, but that doesn't really bother me. I hope everybody has had a good weekend so far. I was just thinking the other day how this year has just, seems like it's just flown by. But it seems the older I get, the faster time flies. When I can remember being younger and people, older people saying that, and I was like, that's a crock of baloney. But it really seems like it just whizzes by. But I did grab a lip kit from them, a face palette from this brand, and a couple of, like a little pore filler stick. And I am going to use that, half of it on one side and half on this other. Or use my Maybelline on the other side and see how it compares to that one. Because I find that my Maybelline blur stick is getting a little bit harder to find. And when I first purchased the blur stick, I think I paid like $5 for it. And it's where I can find it now, it seems to be like $10. So I don't know what's going on with that. Hopefully they're not going to discontinue it, but that seems to be what happens when a lot of times you find something you really like, and next thing you know, it's gone. Just taking this transition shade up just a little bit higher, because when I relaxed my eyes, I couldn't really see it. So just want to get this up here where it's visible. So far, this has blended out nicely and built well on itself. And then let's do this deepest shade, Dwarf. It looks kind of like a burgundy, kind of a plummy brown. I'm just going to take that on the flat side of this little brush. nicely pigmented and not patchy. You know, sometimes those deeper shades can, if it's not a good formula, can get a little bit patchy on you. And I think I'm going to take a little bit of a smaller, like my Pro Fusion. No, we'll go Angie Hot and Flashy. Do a little bit of a spotlight eye. I like to use a little bit of a smaller brush for this inner corner. It's easier for me to control where I'm putting the shadow. And this is the shade Dwarf. All of them have kind of celestial type names. And I ordered this directly from their website, and their shipping was super fast. I think it came from California, but it only took it just a few days to get here. But you know, the company got it shipped out quickly. You know, like when you order something from ColourPop. Whoops. Seems like when I order stuff from like ColourPop, it takes forever. But like, you know, with ColourPop, it's processing for days and days, and then, you know, they create a label, and then it takes some more days before it's actually shipped out. So I was really impressed with the shipping speed, and everything showed up really well packaged. I think I'm going to take a little bit of this lightest shade here, Strawberry Milk. Not on that brush. Just on kind of a fluffy brush. And just run that right over that top edge. So far, every shade I've touched has been easy to work with. Then let's see. Yeah, see that shade's been on my hand for a little while, that kind of one that's in the gel or whatever, and it's not dried down, which the one that I swatched from Huda hasn't either. So, I don't know about that particular shade, but for $10, I'm still, so far, I'm pleased. And let's pick a shimmer. And y'all know me, I'm going to swatch a few of these just to kind of look at them and see. Those look pretty. Let's swatch a couple of these swirly ones and see what we get. Let's do this one at the top, Pathway. Ooh. Universe. Cupcake. That cupcake feels, the one that was in the center, yeah, that's definitely like a cream shadow. That's what some of those look like. This right here, the center shade Cupcake, that's like a cream shadow. This is the one at the top, Pathway, that kind of bluey one. And then these are the first two that I did. And this one is the one down here at the bottom, Universe. But I think I'm going to go with that first shade. Sagittarius. And I'm going to leave this cream shade on my hand and see if it actually like sets down. And I'm going to try to go in with a brush to kind of keep this right where I want it. I'm just going to do a little flat, super flat, dense brush. switching brushes. This one is just the e.l.f. eyeshadow brush because that one didn't seem to be, I don't know if it wasn't big enough or yeah, I don't really love that either with a brush anyway. I definitely got more payout with my finger, so let's do that. Sometimes I don't even know why I bother with a brush, but there are some shimmers that do pretty well with a brush. And if you don't want it to be as bold or metallic looking, using a brush is kind of, you know, it'll tone it down a little bit. But I like a brush because I'm not as messy with a brush, but maybe I should learn how to use my hands. I think that's very pretty though. Then I'm going to take that brush that we applied that outer corner shade with. I'm not going to add anything to it, but just kind of fluff over those edges. Ton of fallout on my face either, so that's good. Alright, so let's move on to complexion. And you know, I was saying I grabbed this guy. This is their pore filler stick. And I don't know if I mentioned the eyeshadow palette retail for like 10 bucks. This retails for $5. It's supposed to be comparable to the Milk Makeup blur stick or something. And it looks kind of dark, but it's supposed to show up clear. Oh, yeah, it does. So I'm going to use this on the right side, and then I'm going to use my Maybelline on the other and just see how they compare. You know, just in case something happens with my Maybelline. I think this one definitely feels softer than the one from Maybelline does. I'm just really making sure that I press that in good. And I'm really kind of concentrating it right here in the center where I have the biggest pores. And then I'm going to do the Maybelline on the other side and we'll see how they compare. Kind of hard to only do half the nose. Yeah, the one from Ccolor is definitely a softer formula. I was putting a little more like I did on the other side in this little spot here that's kind of the worst. Same thing, just pressing it in good. Just looking at it right here, right now. They look very similar. I'm just going to throw on my Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. Been a little bit since I used it, so we'll go ahead and we'll get this pressed in and I'll be right back. Alright, so I went ahead and threw on a little bit of concealer. Trying this Revlon one more time. You know, I wasn't super impressed with it to start with, but and then of course I've got that Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator all applied, and I just used my Stands Out sponge for that. I kind of used one side on one side of the face and one side on the other. And then for under my eyes, I think I'm going to keep it kind of simple again. I may put a little bit, not a little bit, just kind of mimic what we did up top. I'm going to go in with Scorpio that we started in our crease. Do a little bit of that on the inner and outer. And add just a tiny bit of that deeper shade Dwarf. And I'm going to clean that brush off and then do a little of that shimmer in the center. So that's got our mascara on. I just used this Maybelline. Oh, crap. I set that in the rest of that foundation that was on my little palette. The Bounce Curl. And anything that I've used, you know, as usual, I'll put it down in the description box. So let's move on. I think I'm going to do a little powder. That foundation still feels just a little bit tacky. I'm going to use the Physicians Formula Butter Believe It face powder. Not on that brush. So far, I'm pleased with how everything has performed. And even that concealer doesn't look quite as rough as it did last time I used it. So let's move on. For the face, I grabbed their Natural Face Palette. This is supposed to be comparable to the Too Faced face palette of some sort. This retails for $8. You get blush, bronzer, and highlight. This one looks like a little bit of a shimmery. Let me take this thing off of here. A little bit of a shimmery bronzer. The packaging's a little bit chunky. There we go. But this, I don't know if I said it, retails for $8. You get a mirror and then, you know, like I said, blush, bronzer, highlight. Kind of smells maybe like a baked good. But I don't know if I'm going to try the highlighter in here today. Because I've got a, ooh. I don't know which one. This bottom shade in here is kind of a shifty. And that cream eyeshadow that was in the center of that palette did set down. Like it dried down. It's not like the other one. But I thought this was really pretty, and for $8 you get, you know, blush, bronzer, highlight. I thought if it's good, you know, it'd be good for travel. I normally like a big fluffy brush for my bronzer, but these are a little bit smaller pans. So I'm going to use, I mean, this is kind of a fluffy brush. I've been testing these out from the Ulta Beauty collection. I think I got a set of, it was 4 or 5 for like $25, and it came with a little bag, but this is the kind of fluffier powder brush. And I'm going to go in, you know, this one's matte and this one's a shimmer, so I'm just going to go into the matte one here. And we'll do a little bronzing. Well, I can't say I have any complaints about that. Easy to work with. And I think with what we've got going on our eyes, I think I'm going to go with this more mauve-y shade here. And I don't think I'm going to be able to check in later today, but I will make sure I pin a comment and put a note in the description box, you know, as to how the, you know, did the eyeshadow fade, how'd the blush hang on, that kind of stuff. It's got nice pigment. It's a pretty color. Yeah, no complaints so far. And I'm really tempted to use that highlight that's in here that has that purpley shift, but I want to try this Ccolor holograph stick. This one is $5 as well, and it's supposed to be comparable to one from Milk Makeup. And that's what it looks like built up. But then if you shear it out, it's a really pretty kind of glow. So I think what I'm going to do is just put a little bit on my finger and apply it. Ooh. May have went a little heavy. Which, do we go heavy with our cheeks every time? Yes, we do. Because it's just who I am as a person. I think I may have went a little heavier over on the other side, so let's even them out. Feels just a little bit tacky, but we'll see how that dries down. And then for lips, I grabbed the little kit. Came with a lip liner, a clear lip gloss, and then a liquid lipstick, and this is the shade Faded Rose, and this retailed for $6. And I can't remember how many shades they had, but it seemed like there were quite a few. So that's the lip liner and then the liquid lipstick. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to like this shade too much. It looked a little deeper online, a little more like maybe on the mauve side. So it goes on creamy, but it's got a little tack to it, which I don't mind. Maybe that means it'll hang on to my lip product well. Can't say that's my favorite shade. I'm gonna let that dry down just a second and see how that feels by itself, and then I probably will throw that gloss on. It's definitely getting sticky. And it's really emphasizing my lip lines. So I don't love that. Let's just go ahead. You can tell this is going to be uncomfortable. And throw on the gloss. I'm just going to put it on my finger. The gloss feels good. It doesn't feel sticky or doesn't smell like anything. Not a very glossy gloss. Yeah, that's definitely... We can come closer. It's uneven. And it's just not... Looks kind of chunky. I'm going to take this off and try again. Or, you know, maybe it was dry patches on my lips. I think it's the lip stuff. So I took it off and reapplied, and it's still... It's just not even, and it's not... just doesn't look good. Okay, so I had to get rid of that lippy. I did not love that, but so far, other than the lip, I like everything. We'll see how it all wears, and let's go outside and take a look in, you know, real life. I went and took a look, you know, in my other mirrors in the house, and everything looks good. That lip I had to get rid of. It was just, it was awful. But the eyeshadow, I think, is really pretty. The cheek products look good. That highlighter is really pretty. It's got like a little purpley shift to it, which I kind of like. But of course, I will let y'all know how everything wears in the description box. So yeah, other than that lip, I liked everything. So I will definitely let y'all know if, you know, like I said, anything wears off weird or any of that stuff. I so appreciate you guys watching my channel and, you know, commenting and liking my videos and that kind of stuff. I appreciate y'all so very much. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all.